Hello and welcome back, goats, to the Big Blue Purple channel. Now, video games have been a major part of my life since childhood. Playing the original Mega Man games, Minecraft, Mario Kart, you name it. I absolutely loved games as a kid, and I still do now. As of recently, however, I've seen a question floating around the internet. A question that has likely existed for longer than me. Why don't I enjoy video games anymore? Have video games become less fun? Today I want to take a look at these questions and try to understand why people are having less fun with video games now, despite the sheer number and the quality of the games that we have nowadays. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, I played my first video game. This game was Mega Man 2. I played it on the Wii Virtual Console and it absolutely blew my mind. I was hooked. I remember constantly getting on the Wii with any free time I had to play Mega Man. The excitement of entering a new level, fighting a new boss, gaining a new power, I could never get enough. Throughout my childhood, I would go on to play every single Mega Man game I could get my hands on. The X series, the Zero series, whatever I could find, I would play. I had a hunger for more that could seemingly never be satiated. What I think many of us have noticed, however, is that this hunger does not last forever, and eventually we experience burnout. I would argue that a lot of this comes down to just getting older. As we grow, we seek purpose and meaning in our lives. I'm sure many of us now question ourselves playing video games. Should I be hitting the gym instead? Reading that new book I picked up? Going to the bar with my friends? Video games don't really accomplish anything, and to many of us, they begin to seem like nothing more than a way to waste time. And time, as we get older, becomes far more valuable to us. We realize the importance of our time and begin to understand just how limited it is. Through these realizations, however, we can lose sight of what's truly important, enjoying the time that we do in fact have. Now, I know all of this talk about time and purpose may seem a little bit heavy, but it's important to illustrate my point. With our time feeling more limited, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, we tend to stray less from our gaming comfort zone, as I'll call it. What games do you know that you'll enjoy? Why risk playing something that I might not like if it wastes my precious time? Now, for many of us, this is a subconscious thing, but it directly impacts how we perceive and enjoy video games. It's the reason so many people buy the new COD, FIFA, 2K, every single year. They enjoyed Call of Duty as a kid and know that they'll probably have some fun with it still. Now, this is where gaming burnout really comes into play. When you stay within your gaming comfort zone, you begin to slowly but surely burn out on the games that you love. As this burnout gets harder for us to ignore, it leaves us questioning, do I even enjoy video games anymore? So when we're burnt out on the games we already love, the logical next step would be to try something new. This is where the next mental block comes in for a lot of people, the idea of having too many choices. Choice overload is a cognitive impairment in which people have a difficult time making a decision when faced with many options. The term was first introduced by Alvin Toffler in his 1970 book, Future Shock. So how does this affect video games? First and foremost, many of us have vast Steam libraries of games we've never even opened or played before. I know that I'm guilty of this. That game you picked up on a summer sale but never quite got around to playing? When your library is filled with hundreds of different options, it becomes difficult to decide what exactly is even worth playing. Being overloaded with choices like this is exactly the key difference between us as kids and us as adults. Nowadays, I'm sure many of us can afford our own video games and pretty much buy whatever we want. This comes to a point where video games don't really feel special anymore. It's not as exciting to pick up that new video game anymore. You're more so excited for your favorite developer to put out a game you really believe in, like Elden Ring or something. The point is, as kids, we couldn't get video games very easily, so when we did get them, they meant a lot more to us. We spent a lot more time with those particular games because they're all we had. As we get older now, we have access to hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of video games to choose between at will. This all comes back to our perceived value of time that we have. Why would I risk wasting time on a game I don't even like? Our Steam libraries may be the most obvious example of this, but I think it goes deeper. What about buying a new game? Video games are the most accessible they've ever been, through Steam sales, Humble Bundle, key sites, and countless other means of acquiring discounted video games. Now, what I'm getting at here is that choice overload doesn't just affect our Steam libraries or the games we already own, but also the games we haven't even bought yet that we're deciding if we want or not. Now, this leads me back to why people buy Call of Duty and 2K every year. They know they had some fun with it last year, and it's safer than buying something they've never even tried before. Oh, I played, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 when I was younger, really liked that game. I know that the new Call of Duty will probably be somewhat fun for a couple of weeks. This is the cycle of burnout that many gamers seem to get themselves trapped in. So what can we do to solve this? How do we free ourselves from the burnout that we've amassed over time? The answer is to leave your gaming comfort zone. And I don't just mean trying Battlefield instead of COD. No. I mean trying a genre that you've never even touched before. Haven't really played any racing games? Try something out. Not really a fan of fighting games? Pick something up with your friend and beat each other up. The only way to free ourselves from this burnout is to try something new that we've never even played before. Play something because you're not sure about it. You might just find your new favorite game. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've been playing several brand new games that have completely reinvigorated my passion for the medium, which kind of motivated me to make this video in the first place. Games like Metal Hellsinger, Thumper, Vampire Survivors, Ikaruga, all sorts of different experience that I was unsure about before trying. Ikaruga has quickly become one of my favorite games to just boot up and play a couple of runs of, even though I suck. And this is where my next piece of advice comes to you. If you're sick of the new games and you feel like everything that's coming out nowadays is this, corporate garbage that's just ruined by microtransactions, yada yada yada, then look back. Look back into the past at some games that you've never tried before, because you know damn well that you haven't played every single game that's ever come out. So, my advice to you is to try some of the classics. Find something you never played before that looks somewhat interesting to you. Give it a shot. This is what Ikaruga was to me. I never played bullet hell games, really, but I've been having an absolute blast with it because I decided to try something out of my comfort zone. Ironically, actually, it was Call of Duty that really made me sit down and think about my comfort zone in video games. I noticed when I was playing MW2, I was falling into the same thought loops as my friends. I just don't enjoy video games anymore, I guess. This is when I understood that it was time to leave the comfort zone. My advice to you, dear viewer, is to try something sporadic and completely different than anything you've ever played. This is how we escape our burnout to create new memories and experiences through gaming. Play that roguelike that's been untouched in your library for 3 fucking years. Boot up that JRPG you were hesitant to try due to its 40-hour completion length. As we grow older, become busier, and grow more aware of the reality that we live in, video games can seem pointless and like a waste of time. This is where we must ground ourselves and remember that doing something simply for the sake of doing it is enough. By obsessing over our time and how we spend it and what's really worth our time, we end up losing more time than we would have just by enjoying these games that we're interested in trying. It's important that we move past this mental block that video games just aren't fun anymore and realize that maybe the games I'm playing right now aren't fun anymore, and I need to try something new. I hope if you're experiencing burnout from video games, that this video has helped reignite a spark in you. Never forget those memories you made growing up, and always remember that there are more to come. I know this video is quite unlike anything I've made in the past, but this has been on my mind for months now, and I figure many others have felt the same way about this topic. So, have video games become less fun? Not by a long shot. We've simply become less receptive to the media we consume. Anyways, that's going to pretty much summarize this video. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to rate, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell me your experiences below with video games and burnout. What games helped revive your love for video games? Now get out there and play yourself a brand new game that you've never goddamn played before, alright?